545, welcome back to Good Day Orlando. Yesterday we talked about National Guard troops going into Washington. They did overnight as part of the president's federal takeover of the city's police as officials target rising violent crime there. Let's go to Fox's Lucas Tomlinson. He is live in Washington this morning. Lucas, always great to have you with us. Good morning.
Good morning, Ryan. And you're right, D.C. National Guard have hit the streets here in the nation's capital, about 800 soldiers in all. Coincidentally, that's about the same number of cops the D.C. police force is short. And President Trump saying he wants to clean up the city. He wants to see the murder rate gone down. Just as a context, D.C. has a murder rate about 3 times higher than you all in Orlando. So while certainly crime is down in the last year, that's what D.C. officials say, although it's notable, Ryan, that the head of the D.C. Police Union says he doubts some of those statistics when it comes to violent crime. Violent crime down 26% so far this year compared to last, according to the D.C. Police Department. But officials want to see that come down even lower. The president is certainly making the rounds in Washington. He's been in town the last few weekends. I think when he drives out to his golf club in Sterling, Virginia, he sees some of these homeless encampments. He hears the stories. He saw one of his top Doge lieutenants went by the nickname Big Balls, who got bloodied. He was beat up and carjacked at 3 in the morning in a very popular part of town on 14th Street here in the nation's capital. But, you know, for context, the mayor of D.C. says, listen, violent crime is down to a 30-year low. That said, she met with President Trump's Attorney General Pam Bondi yesterday here at the Justice Department. She's pledging to work with these federal officials. It's notable, Ryan, that this increased National Guard presence, increased presence of federal authorities, this is only going to be done for about a month. So just over the time when children go back to school in high schools and middle schools, other grade schools in this area. So it'll be interesting to see how long this federal presence stepped up, because you need Congress if you're going to go past those 30 days. But President Trump says he wants to do this as a priority, and we're waiting to see the results.
You know, Lucas, it's interesting because we see crime numbers, and obviously numbers say one thing, but we've seen 3 or 4 very high-profile stories. You mentioned the one of that young man being beat savagely, and people are concerned about that. I don't think most people would question crime in many of our cities has an issue, but they do question, is it an overreach? So what was the pushback? What is the cooperation right now from D.C.'s mayor, which is clearly not on the president's team?
Right, although it's been interesting, Ryan, the mayor said yesterday she's willing to work with these federal authorities. You know, it's putting many Democrats here in Washington in a tough position because, you know, this is fairly, a 90-10 issue when it comes to fighting crime. In fact, some say it shouldn't even be politics. When it comes to fighting crime, you'd think people would be united in this effort. However, you know, the numbers are the numbers. Now, Washington's come a long way. In the crack epidemic in the late 80s, early 90s, you had over 400 homicides here in the nation's capital. Last year was 184. This year it's trending a little bit lower to 170. So that's a success right there. Hey, look what it was just in the early 90s. Yes, crime is down. Some critics will say, well, compared to what? You know, the COVID highs, certainly there was a crime spike nationwide. Nationwide is also seeing crime come down. But is that good enough? And clearly it's affected President Trump enough to say it's not good enough. And you know, Washington have a lot of federal resources, have a lot more certainly than Orlando, right? So he has access to the National Guard. You know, Washington, D.C. is unique. You know, there's no governor. It's not a state. So the president can deploy the National Guard if he chooses to. However, it's going to be for 30 days. We heard that from the White House press secretary yesterday at the White House. They will reevaluate after those 30 days, although it is notable that does coincide with children going back to school.
We will have to watch a lot of developments. They're happening quickly. Got to leave it there, Lucas. Great to have you on. Thank you.
All right, Ryan.